Welcome into the Gaming Discourse. I'm Tyler Frater alongside Richard De La Cruz.
Hello.
And Chief Engineer Lieutenant Commander Connor Frater.
Good evening.
It is Monday, February 9th, 2026. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/gamingdiscourse, patreon.com/the Gaming Discourse. You can support us for $247, $10. Get your name in a video credits, early access to our videos, access to our Discord server, and more. I wrote a little thing about Outer Worlds 2 and Obsidian last week. And I'm going to restate some of that because we're going to talk about, it was inspired by Jason Schreier's story about Obsidian, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. I'm going to end up restating some of what I wrote in a little Patreon blog. But yeah, go check that out. I'm going to try to do more writing. We'll see this week. I'm working on some other stuff. But nothing, no projects imminently to be released or anything like that. Okay. But we do have plenty of news and things that I'm excited to talk about. But first, Connor, you've been playing more of the Seance of Blake Manor?
Yes.
Okay, so how is that going?
The deeper you get into it, the more you realize how little time you have to solve this mystery. Because you have 2.5 days. But there are events that take like 30 to 45 minutes that you can attend if you want, and they're good opportunities to like learn a little bit more about what's going on. And then it's, people grouped together so you can get more information. But if you sit in on like one of the seminars, well, you just wasted 30 minutes and got no information, and now you have to power through the remaining of this hour before people move locations and get as much information as you can. And I mean, you can spend that time outside of and not go to it, and like do some investigating. But if you're light on leads, or you have too many leads and you need to start getting answers to these leads, you really start feeling the clock start ticking.
Is it, so how does that, is it real time where you're walking around a thing?
So some certain actions take time. So
it just takes a block of time.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how like Pentiment works. Because in Pentiment, I don't know if you've ever played Pentiment.
Yeah.
But you can like walk around for 6 hours and it's
time
noon.
does not pass. Yeah.
And as soon as you decide to talk with somebody, that takes like 2 hours of, and then you get out of that and it's afternoon.
And like, that is kind of how it works. But like, if I'm like getting more information from someone, each question takes time.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So you can question someone about everything, but it may take 20 minutes of your day.
Okay.
And not every piece of evidence is relevant to each person, even though they might have something to say about it, might not be relevant to larger mystery at hand. They might just know something about it, and they're marked in the piece of evidence of, hey, this person might be worth talking to, but whether or not they are, you have to figure out the other, or by your deduction. And I am most of the way through because it's you arrive at 11 on a Friday night, and you have all of Tuesday or all of Saturday and Sunday to solve the mystery. And I'm most of the way through Saturday, and I'm still putting leads together and panicking because I'm running out of time.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That sounds really cool. Yeah, this is, it got lots of praise last year when it came out, and I keep seeing people say good stuff about it. So I think it's one of those games that came out last year and was really good, and it just wasn't talked about enough.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of games like Case of the Golden Idol, which I keep hearing good things about, that came out like in 2023. But every time someone talks about it, it's like, this is one of the best games ever made and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of those games that are on my radar that I need to eventually. Return of the Obra Dinn. I still have not played Return of the Obra Dinn. So I just need to pick up all these games.
The game,
sale.
So the game like gives you hints on like conversations that certain people will be able to like give you information on. But it doesn't hold your hand. Like there will be points where it's like, hey, you should find a way to corroborate this information. And like you'll have like a roster of people that you could talk to about this conversation, but you might have to go find physical evidence first, then to be able to corroborate it. So it's more than just talking to people. It's following up on their stories, figuring out like where they were at specific times, making sure they were there at that time, deductive reasoning, or by questioning the right people with the right questions.
Okay.
Very fun, very stressful.
Alrighty, Richard. Richard from
hey.
the front of Overwatch to give us a report. Richard, how goes the scene?
I dip back into Overwatch every now and again because my wife plays it religiously. She's very good at it, and so watching her vicariously makes me go, "Oh yeah, Overwatch is fun." And a couple months ago, I went back into it after they've made some improvements to the game, and so like now on all modes, you have perks that you can choose between playing. Like once you get not fired up, but you basically as you perform objectives or as you do things and get points, you get to you have 2 levels of perks that you can choose. So once you gain those, you can press up and then choose between one of 2, and it adds on to what you can do for the rest of the game.
Oh, okay.
Finally, the tanks have an incentive to be on the goddamn point.
Yeah, for sure. And and I haven't played enough to memorize like what people can do, but I know that Baptiste, who's a healer, like if you activate one of his abilities, his little shoulder cannon, that's like part of his just outfit that doesn't really do anything before they did this.
Yeah.
Like it shoots out 2 more healing orbs that just go to like whoever.
Oh, okay.
So it's like kind of like a smaller extra ability on top of his stuff. So they've done stuff like that, which is really cool. And they added a new mode called Stadium, which is really fun and very reminiscent of Counter-Strike, because everybody has to choose abilities at the beginning, and you have a currency in order to buy those abilities.
Ooh.
Then once the round ends, however well you did, you get X currency, and then you can go to the next like set of abilities until best 2 out of 3. And then if you make it as far as you can, then you get like a final like ability that you can like activate, which is really cool. So you could do stuff like I love playing Reinhardt, so you can get on his second fire strike, it leaves a trail of lava.
Oh, alrighty.
Or like
that damages enemies? Or?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Or I choose it the very first time when I go in with him, but when he puts up his shield, anyone who shoots through it gains 15% extra damage. So everybody has like a bunch of different things. So that's been very, very fun. And you gain the characters you gain characters for the level you play, you gain levels for the characters you play.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you have your other levels for progression, like battle pass stuff. So you can see how proficient somebody is with the character that they're playing, which is just more details that people are enjoying. But as Connor said before the podcast, a lot of new information came out. They had like a big spotlight a couple days ago to where it was like 20 minutes of new information. And so they decided to drop the 2 from Overwatch 2. Mm-hmm. So now it's just Overwatch. Because we now know Jeff Kaplan was like, responsible for a lot of the mess that Overwatch is in, supposedly. And so now they're kind of trying to revert all this stuff. But they're starting tomorrow, they're now reverting back to just season 1. And so every time a season ends, every time a story arc ends, the season will reset back to season 1. Because now their seasons are going to be dealt with actually continuing to tell the story of Overwatch. So on your main menu, you choose to go to story, you'll get motion comics or you'll get actual cinematic trailers as they release them to push the story forward for Overwatch. Okay. On top of that, it's their 10th year anniversary this year. And so they were like, we're going to go big. And so we're adding 10 new characters. Cool. Throughout the year, 5 of them come out tomorrow. Just 5 of them all at once. And they showed all 5 of them and they all look really, most of them look cool. There's the new tank Domina. She looks awesome because she has a shield that she throws up, but it's segmented. So wherever they're shooting, like that square will just disappear, but everything else will break. Her ult, nasty work because she's from the Vishkar industry, so she has hard light like Symmetra does.
Okay.
So her ult, if she like throws it down the line and there's like 3 people, they get hit by it, a hard light bulb like goes onto them, they can't shoot out of it.
Oh, damn.
And then we can shoot into it. They can't shoot out of it, but after like a moment or two, it'll explode. So it's just I thought it was pretty nasty. Who else is there? I guess he was teased back in like concept art, but there's a jetpack cat now, like a cat who has a jetpack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's flying around.
I heard about the name.
Yeah, the name is neat, but he is going to be an asshole because he can. They said they wanted to add a new type of support, and he has a new ability that basically he can fly indefinitely wherever he wants. Seems like, but if he's above a bastion, which is what they're doing now, he can grab that bastion and pull him with him in air.
Oh, nice.
And take him wherever, as long as they want. So Bastion's just flying around the map, just like
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
So, there's I know that Emery is another one, and Onron's another one. Anyways, they're adding 5 new characters, and they're like refreshing the loot boxes, so new, better stuff is in there. Sounds like there's just going all out on incentives and kind of reformatting or readjusting what Overwatch is, and so a lot of people are excited about it. A lot of stop playing back now, but it all seems very exciting, and so I am excited for tomorrow.
How does the game feel? Does it still feel like
it still
Overwatch?
Feels incredible. Yeah, I think Overwatch is one of the best first person shooters. Probably, I definitely wouldn't say top 3, but maybe like top 10. Like, I think it feels really good. And although I do like Marvel Rivals, I think Marvel Rivals feels like crap. Like when you play it, like it's just too, I guess, too loose. There's not like in Destiny or in Halo, like it's tough to explain this to people who haven't experienced it. But when you shoot that Magnum or when you shoot that battle rifle, like you know exactly how it feels in your hand.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like the way you pull the trigger, the amount of time it takes to shoot the weapon and blah, all that stuff, you feel it. And so in Overwatch, I think it's the same way. Like you can actually like kind of get a really good grasp on how these supposed to feel. And in Marvel Rivals, it's not. And it's very fast and loose. Yeah,
that was Bungie's strength, was always like getting the feel of the battle rifle exactly right, getting the feel of all the different weapons exactly right. Like I still remember just the muscle memory and the cadence of like knowing how to balance the DRM and
DMR.
Halo. Did I say what I say? DRM.
DRM.
Digital rights management. No, the DMR in Halo. I've forgotten everything about Halo now. Reach, thank you.
Yeah.
Who's the green guy with the gold face mask? No, but I remember being
John Halo.
John Battlefield. John Halo Battlefield. Yeah. No, but his name actually is John, which is slightly embarrassing. But but I remember the fucking feel of the gun. That's all I'm trying to say. God damn it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to?
Not about Overwatch, but I've been trying to play Skyrim again.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I've never gotten into Skyrim like everyone else has.
Well, why? No better time like the 10 years afterward present.
Yeah.
15.
Guys, you know how good this game is?
Hey, wait a minute. I just saw Heat.
It's 15 years this year.
15 years, yeah.
You're going to be amazed. Citizen Kane blew my mind.
I just.
There was that old,
You're right.
Sorry. Bill Hader has that joke. Oh, no, Fred Armisen. I don't know if you've ever seen, I think it was in Conan or something. But
Fred Armisen has one, yeah.
Of Bill Hader, where Bill Hader's always getting it like super into a super popular band. I forget, but he always like, guys, I've been listening to Rush recently. like he's always just like, guys, I've been playing Skyrim just in the past few weeks.
Incredible game. No longer it stood the test of time.
I apologize for cutting you off.
No, it's fine.
What's your build?
Well, I don't have any because I'm trying to get by now 15 years later. All the wise guys have cracked it, and it's like, this sucked in Skyrim, so let's make it better, you know. And so it's like, okay, well, let's get some like quality of life mods on it, or maybe
old chestnut.
Yeah. And I can't get it run on Steam Deck.
Oh,
I can't get well because it's
because of the mods.
I can't get mods running on Steam Deck, and it is very like, just install this, run it, you're good to go. And it's like,
have you tried Proton Experimental maybe?
Yeah, I might move to Proton Because well, they tell you to do Proton 9.0, so I went to that, and it's still not like doing its thing. So now, basically, I get to the point where it says everything is good, and then I start Skyrim, and it's just loading like forever. So it's not even. Like,
I have had that
initializing.
problem with games.
Yeah,
there may be another solution to that.
Yeah, I
had that problem with Vampire Survivors, where it
oh wow,
it sits at the loading, and it's just like it says whatever. It shows like the thumbnail of the game, and there's just the circle spinning. I forget how I fixed it, but I had that same problem with Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, I think I gotta just like delete all of the like app data and then run it again to create a new app data.
Yeah,
but that's all. Yeah. I haven't been able to try it because.
Well, I'm excited to see if you.
I know. Well, I know. I gotta put the mod to change the spiders into bears. So.
Is it still just T-posed bears?
The bears are just like.
They wobble now.
They walk now.
They wobble.
They wobble.
Yeah, they wobble.
Back in my day, the spider replacement bears just T-posed and scooted along the ground without walking at all. That's funny.
And they hiss. It's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. It still creeps me out knowing what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I was playing Skyrim, and I wasn't alone in the dorm room. I had my other dorm mates were in there. And I remember a spider attacked me by jumping out at me, and I just let out a big
yeah,
and I was like, oh man, did everybody just hear me freak out in the middle of the day? Okay. So I have been playing a little more Hades 2. I don't know how much to say about that. The twist that I was hoping for has not come yet. So I have defeated Kronos a few times. The combat's still really good. But the characters are still interesting. I love getting to know all the different new characters and stuff. But like the twist I was hoping for, that there was some sort of deeper story here about something. It seems to hint at it. But like I think I've defeated Kronos 2 or 3 times, and all I can sort of base that on is they kind of hint at it. There's no ball rolling at this point. So maybe if I defeat Kronos like 2 more times, maybe I'll start to pick up another plot point. But then the problem becomes I had to defeat Kronos 5 times before the twist arrived, which is I think a bit of an issue.
In Hades, you had to beat him 10 times. It was 10 times before.
Was it 10?
Yeah, it was 10 times. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but of course the difference in the first Hades and this one is the first Hades had the narrative I think was more fulfilling.
It did, yes, because once you would beat it, and of course you met Persephone, you would have a different interaction every time. So you had that carrot hanging for you.
There's something I won't spoil anything. There's something similar in Hades 2. It's just I don't think it's as interesting or poignant because as Zagreus you're talking to your mother, right?
Yeah.
Which you're talking to your mother after fighting your father, right? So again, like I've talked about, there's Hades resentment. Hades, when you beat Hades, he's like, whatever, go. Like, he's not so much mad at Zagreus as he is mad at the entire situation. So it's very like the relationships there are interesting. Hades 2 just doesn't have that. We'll see. I still am enjoying playing it. I unlocked the thing that makes like enemies tougher. You can give them more health or more abilities or whatever. It's called something different in Hades 2, but in Hades it was like increase the heat or whatever. So I'm experimenting with that and seeing what's up. But other than that, I've also I also picked up and started Outer Worlds 2, the Outer Worlds 2, which I wrote a little bit about last week. And to be honest with you guys, had I played the Outer Worlds 2 when it came out, I think it came out in October, maybe.
Late last year.
It may have been one of my favorite games from last year.
Wow.
The Outer Worlds 2 so far is really good. Now, I am playing a melee-based character, so the combat has depth to it that I don't know would be there if I was just using guns.
Yeah.
Like my Cyberpunk character, I refuse to use guns unless there's a turret that's like really high and I can't reach it with my weapon. I refuse to use any type of shotgun, sniper rifle, whatever. All I use is my melee weapons, and my entire build, I do like melee weapons. There's a science stat. So in Outer Worlds 2, in Outer Worlds you could like slow down time. It was like the game's version of VATS.
Yeah.
And this one, the slowing down time thing you do is one of like a couple different type of abilities. One of them gives you an overshield that lasts a certain amount of time. And it lasts as long as your energy lasts, but you can increase that energy by putting points into I think it's like the science stat or whatever.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to build like a tanky character. I'm also putting points into speech. Speech is always nice to have, especially in an Obsidian game. But like the story is really interesting. The writing, like again, I don't know. Obsidian just comes up with like, I think it's both easier and incredibly difficult to do what they do. It's easy because it's like the structure is the same. The player is in a place. There's two main factions. These two main factions are in conflict somehow, maybe violent conflict, maybe sociological conflict, and the player is going to go on a quest where their decisions are going to impact one side or the other. And then you're going to have to make that choice, and then you're going to go from that area to the next where it's the same scenario but just a little bit different. It was the same thing in Avowed. It was the same thing in Outer Worlds. So it's like they have these...
Since Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, they have these formulas.
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas was, of course, one open world, but yeah, very similar. So they have these formulas where they give you two factions. But the thing is, instead of just being faction A, faction B, and it's like, okay, these are two uninteresting factions, the factions that they write are always so interesting. So basically, the factions at the beginning of Outer Worlds 2, there's Auntie's Choice, which is a company that is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a new it was formed from
Conglomeration.
Yeah, it's Spacer's Choice and Auntie. I forget.
Auntie Cleo's.
Yeah, something like that. And Auntie Cleo took over Spacer's Choice, hostile takeover, quote unquote. So now it's Auntie's Choice. It's this new mega company, right? It is hilarious at a game released by Xbox. One of the major factions is a company that just absorbed another company. The other faction that is in the starting area is a faction called the Protectorate. So Auntie's Choice is very capital. It's all about individual entrepreneurship and bullshit like that. The Protectorate is it's like a beehive. You get born, you get assigned a job, and that's all you do for the rest of your life. You don't have individual autonomy. You do that job. You get food, you get housing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a dystopic version of like socialism or communism, right? Where as soon as you get born, your life is, you don't have to make choices. You don't have to compete in the workplace, right? Because everything is set for you, and all you have to do is just do your job, and you'll get nourishment and housing and resources and all that. So it's like complete opposites, right? And so it's different forms of authoritarianism, and you meet people from both sides, you meet leaders from both factions, you go on quests that obviously portray different people in the factions different ways, and then at the end you have to make a decision that's going to impact one of the factions or the other. Now, one of my traits that I picked was Lucky, a perk that I picked at the beginning of the game, which you should always do in an Obsidian game.
Yeah.
So what Lucky does is you will find little interactive things around Outer Worlds 2. Like, for instance, you'll find a health station, and it's like, this station has, when you interact with it, a little text box appears, and it'll say something like, this station has all the ingredients for a health pack. If you knew how to do it, you could put it together. And if you meet their criteria for the health stat, you can get yourself a health pack right there. And if you don't, you can't. But every now and then Lucky appears, and Lucky is like, you throw some things together and see what happens. And when you select that, you'll get a health pack. So Lucky every now and then gives you luck. So so the main quest, you get two choices, and it is very much like, do you shoot the puppy in the face or do you shoot the kitty in the face? Like, there's no good choice.
Yeah.
But there was Lucky, and I was like, what is this gonna do? So I picked Lucky, and it gave me this awesome third result that completely avoided like the choose one of the two extremes. And I was like, that's awesome. That's so cool. And because before that, I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to, like in Dragon Age Veilguard, it was the same thing. Which city are you gonna protect from the dragon? And the dragon, burns the shit out of the other city. But in this one, it was just like, hit Lucky, and I did the Lucky, and I think it was like your character smashes buttons or whatever. So I did it, and I completely avoided that result. And I was like, that's so cool. That's such fun, right? And it rewards me for taking that Lucky, and playing into like the chaos of it all, you know? So yeah, I'm like I turned the combat up to hard because it makes all the health and stuff a little bit more meaningful. And I'm really invested in the companions so far. You have two companions, and like again, this is a really good example of writing. Your two human companions to start off with, Niles and Inez. So Niles is a former and maybe current, I don't really know how he would consider it, space ranger. So this guy that's supposed to be like a good guy, right? So he's very idealistic. So he sees the Protectorate and Anti-Cleos, and he kind of dislikes both because he's a little more what we would consider like progressive today, right? He doesn't think people should be forced into employment contracts or whatever. Inez is a genetically altered soldier, and she agrees with Anti-Cleos, but it's not that she's a corporatist. She's more of a pragmatist. Anti-Cleos is super powerful. They control a lot. They gave her the ability to fight, so she's just like, hey, let's just work with Anti-Cleos all the time. Yes, they're bad people, but we can help people. If like she's more open to compromise, to ethical compromise, right? And Niles isn't. Niles is more idealistic. So they like argue and they butt heads, and it's not in a obnoxious way. It's in a really interesting way where these characters really believe the things that they're saying, and you can tell Inez even has like when you make a good point about Anti-Cleos, being a bad organization, you can tell Inez kind of agrees with you, but she still is like, but I'm a pragmatist, so this is what. So she's like, that's interesting. So she's not just like zealot. She's somebody who has internal conflict, who questions like, I don't know if this is the right choice, but I just feel like it is. And man, God, I just love that about Obsidian so much that they can just like, I don't know if we talk about it enough, but it's just every game Obsidian does it's just that SpongeBob meme over and over again, where it's just like, hey, I just wrote amazing characters. Want to see me do it again? Want to see me do it again? Want to see me do it again? Because every single Obsidian game I've played, maybe except Grounded, which has like fun characters because it's a survival game. Every single Obsidian RPG is just, the characters are always just phenomenal, and it's been like that since Fallout New Vegas, it seems, and probably beforehand. So yeah, I'm really excited to play more Outer Worlds 2. It was a mistake because I'm like, okay, I can finish. I picked up Control, Steam's winter sale, and I can finish this, and then I'll be done with it before Resident Evil Requiem and easy cheesy lemon squeezy, and then like, well, how about you start your 100-hour playthrough of Outer Worlds 2?
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah.
So I've got problems to deal with. But anyway, I would highly recommend it if you guys like the first Outer Worlds, because thus far, I think it's better than the first one thus far. And I got to the second area, and I'm really excited to explore it and stuff. But anyway, okay, I'll have a little bit more to say. Do we have anything?
Just real quick on Obsidian writing. No other game has really hit with the same level of writing as Obsidian than with Fallout New Vegas. With if you didn't have the required skill for a skill check, just give you the worst possible option to say.
And of course, one of the most iconic beginnings of all time.
Yeah,
game was rigged from the start. Okay, let's do the news. Thanks for listening. If you like our content, please consider subscribing or leaving a like and comment. You can find us at patreon.com/thegamingdiscourse. And our tiers are $2, $4, $7, and $10 and include getting your name in the video credits, early access, and access to our Discord server. All right, we're going to discuss this story from Jason Schreier last week about a little profile on Obsidian. Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, again, Jason Schreier from Bloomberg. Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 failed to meet a sales forecast set by Microsoft. I'm going to read bit from his story. For the past decade, after struggling to put out games on par with those of Sony and Nintendo, Microsoft went on a spending spree, culminating with the $69 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard in 2023. But with revenue growth flat, console sales declining, and Microsoft's priorities shifting to artificial intelligence, the company has put Xbox under new financial scrutiny, enacting an ambitious 30% profit target for many studios. Bloomberg News has reported that the pressure has led the Xbox team to publish many of its games on PlayStation, an unthinkable prospect just a few years ago, and cut costs in other ways. For Obsidian, the target doesn't seem unfeasible as long as it could continue experimenting. What do you guys think? I have a lot of thoughts, especially because I was playing Outer Worlds 2 and I thought about some things and I read this story and I was like, yep. Like I could see things. So what do you guys think? We already kind of talked about the 30% cut before, but I mean, we can always dunk on that some more.
Hey, Microsoft, maybe the push towards AI was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't need Copilot everywhere I turn. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
There's that, which is a solid argument. What I was gonna say about Outer Worlds 2 is, so remember when I like a couple minutes ago I told you guys about back in 57, whatever. When I told you guys about like in Outer Worlds 2 you can walk up to things and like build a health pack.
Yeah.
So your character has a little hand animation to do that. It's a really quick. Or like say you get a security card, and if you punch the security card into a computer, you can like unlock a door. Well, when you hit insert security card, there is a little animation where your character pulls out the card, slides it into the computer, and then like pulls it back out, right? So there's all these sleeker animations that are all over the place in Outer Worlds 2. And as soon as I started seeing those, and there's also some cutscenes as well, which you don't see from a lot of these types, from a lot of like Obsidian first-person RPGs, right? Like you don't see a lot of cutscenes in Bethesda games that are similar.
Yeah.
So as soon as I started seeing that stuff, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That probably costs some money to do because you have all these little animations sprinkled throughout the game that look nice, but it's like, do they need to be there? I don't know. When I walk up to a machine and build a health pack, can't I just pop up say you get one health pack, and it's like, okay, cool. I can
like
imagine
Fallout.
In my head like Fallout. Or, like the Outer Worlds. But in this one, there's a little animation where your character, slots a jar and pours liquid into it and stuff. And it's a cool animation. It's made by people that are obviously super talented and know what they're doing. But it's like, I wonder how much that cost. And so reading this story, I thought it was interesting because they talked about how, they want to try and reduce costs, which is something we hear all the time, and it makes me think like, well, I don't know, why did somebody make and I don't know, maybe that stuff didn't cost more. Maybe it cost nothing to add all those animations in.
It didn't cost nothing. It did cost something.
I would be surprised.
It cost man hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, the biggest part of budgets is payroll.
And so I don't want to speculate how much or whatever, but I imagine it costs something. And so if you're looking to like cut costs, wouldn't that be one of those things that you would decide, this is nice, but it's not essential for the experience of our game, so we don't have to do anything like that. Therefore, we don't have it in the game. And I wonder, and so why did Obsidian make that decision? Because those things weren't really in Avowed. Because there was crafting and stuff in Avowed, but it was just a menu that you pressed a button and things happened. You didn't your character didn't have animations. So yeah, that's just one of those. That's just something that popped into my mind as I've been playing Outer Worlds 2. But yeah, I could go on, but
yeah, it is tough to not sit here and wonder what Microsoft has their goals at, especially since when you look at the bigger picture, it's quite obvious that Microsoft has kind of dug this hole for themselves with Game Pass and how they've treated their franchises throughout the Xbox One era. Because the time to have games like this was 10 years ago, not now. And so now, as a consequence, you have worldwide sales of Xbox Series consoles being at like 31 million, a third of PS5, which is at like 92 million worldwide. And you can see like where the issue is, especially when do you want sales of your game, or do you want more people signed up for Game Pass? Like you can't have both. And so you either go in one or the other. And then on top of that, slowly promising your consumers that you love physical and you're going to continue to support physical, and yet you can't find physical games out and about in the wild anymore. Sign up for Game Pass, please. It's hard to wonder where their numbers were for these two games. And it also probably didn't help Outer Worlds' cause with word of mouth from the first game. Because I don't know what it is. I played the first game. You played. I think we all played the first game. I thought it was. I don't want to say it was like exceptional. I thought it was great. There's problems with it, but you know, it was a very good game. But the online discussions are different. I've seen the online discussions about Outer Worlds kind of being like, "Nah, it wasn't that great," or you know, the negativity around it probably affected people's mentalities going into the second one. Despite how now anyone who's talked about the second one says it's brilliant, you know, way better than the first one. So there's a lot of stacking issues for, you know, the failed sales forecasts, but I can't think of anybody else to blame but Microsoft themselves.
And so, yeah, as far as like the first Outer Worlds goes, like I remember it being a solid game because it was, again, the big, we talk about this a lot. The big problem I think with Outer Worlds that I can remember is it's an RPG, but you have guns. So if I have all these stats and I shoot a guy in the face, do my stats really matter? If that's how I get through combat, you know? And I think people were excited because they wanted it to be New Vegas. And it was kind of New Vegas, but also kind of not. Like VATS wasn't there.
That's
Honestly,
the chase, though.
I think people miss VATS. I don't know if people are like saying that, but I think I liked VATS. I think VATS was kind of neat. I also liked that, like.
Well, I like VATS for the same reason that I like slow motion and Sniper Elite 3.
Oh yeah, okay, but also but I also liked it because it gamified RPG mechanics. When you're holding a gun,
sure,
right?
That makes perfect sense.
If you play a tabletop RPG, right, it doesn't necessarily always make sense that you can have a gun in your hand and you roll a die and you miss or whatever, right? But
go play XCOM, okay?
But it's gamifying. It's gamifying the act of shooting a gun.
I never thought of that. That's really interesting.
So that's what VATS does, right? It takes, and I think it's also because Bethesda couldn't really do FPS controls because man, does it feel bad in Fallout 3. But that went away, and Fallout 4 was more of an FPS, right? So VATS wasn't as important. So I think people kind of miss that element of it. In any case, I would agree, Richard, that my question here is not like, oh man, Obsidian needs to change. And yeah, like I brought up the example of like animations, because I do think Obsidian can't just sit back and not make decisions on their own. But at the same time, it's like, Microsoft, who told you to make artificial intelligence such a priority? And who told you that the Xbox game division needs a 30% profit margin, right? Are these decisions brought on by an environment where there are no other choices, or are these decisions brought on by a company that is just setting ridiculous goals, right? Can you lower those goals in this environment, especially for a company like Microsoft, right? If this was Raw Fury, some other small publisher, maybe not. But we're talking about one of the biggest companies on earth. Can you not set more sustainable goals for your game division? And if you really can't, then so be it. But it's hard for me to believe that Microsoft really needs to yank out a 30% profit margin from Xbox, or else they're just not going to be able to handle it anymore. So that's my main takeaway from this story is we can sit here and we can be like, oh, Obsidian needs to figure out what to do. Obsidian needs to lower their budgets. And yeah, Obsidian should do those things. But I don't know, if you should take care of your apartment, but if your landlord's a slumlord, then at some point it's not your fault, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, Obsidian's going to need to, they have a responsibility for themselves. But if Microsoft is just not interested in creating an environment where a company like Obsidian can make the games that Obsidian is known for, then that is a failure on Microsoft's part, not Obsidian's part. And I think the obvious parallel is BioWare, right? we can go around and talk about what happened with Anthem. And I'm sure there's lots of blame to be had with people in BioWare and with people in Electronic Arts. But the thing that I always come back to is if I were the head of Electronic Arts in 2011, I know what I have with BioWare, which is this is not a studio that needs to do a Destiny. This is a studio that does Dragon Age, Mass Effect, right? Yes, they had the Old Republic. They have one thing that's an MMO, but it's like, other than that, this is what they're good at, right? So knowing that, I try to foster an environment where they can build those types of games and experiences. And I don't expect to make a shit ton of money out of that division because that's not the point of that division. And I already have FIFA that I'm, exploiting children for, so I don't need that from BioWare. I think that's the obvious parallel here, and I think that's what worries people.
I think the Old Republic should have been the writing on the walls for them. That was bad.
You just had a bad experience.
Yeah, I did.
I think
it was fine. Like the Old Republic itself was fine.
Yeah, and we don't have to.
But I think we could talk about this at a different point.
Yeah, I barely played it, so I can't really speak to it. I think another good example here is like Avowed, right? Because we know Avowed was supposed to be this, like, Jason Schreier describes it as a combination of Destiny and Skyrim, right? And I think Josh Sawyer is quoted in the story of, like, I don't think anybody could make this idea that we had work. Now, they pitched that idea to Microsoft.
Yeah.
If I am a Microsoft executive and Obsidian, who made Fallout fucking New Vegas, comes to me and says, we're going to do this insane thing, and it's... To me, it seems like it's, here's our live service thing. Please give us money for it. I'm going to say, no. Like, no, you don't need to make the superhero Marvel thing. We already have studios for that. You get to make
our version of New Vegas. Here's a blank check.
Exactly. Don't go over this much money. Yes, we need a sustainable budget.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't want you guys to go off on a wild goose chase and try and screw around with, like, live service economies and get stuck in that rut. So when I think of Avowed, I think, okay, if someone just told Obsidian that, I don't know, does Obsidian find itself in a better spot, and is Avowed's development eased because the parent company decided you don't need to go chasing after, large, gigantic numbers to try and get this to work? And of course, it didn't work because Avowed had to be rebooted, and it became a first-person RPG, which is actually a really solid RPG. It's not bad. But, like, again, you foster that environment, the studios, the talent, their pedigree and what they've done in the past. That's what you should build off of. And if you don't, then is it really the studio's fault that you're trying to force all these square pegs into round holes? Or is it your fault for just being stupid, short-sighted, stubborn-headed, and being too focused on artificial intelligence, which, like, God damn it, 2 Super Bowls ago, it was all crypto, and now there wasn't a single fucking crypto ad, but it was all AI ads. It's just, I don't know, man. It's we'll talk about NFTs in a little bit. We haven't said it in a long time, but is there anything you guys would like to say about this?
Obsidian deserves better.
Yeah, and man, they've made such good games, and they've been.
I think from the gaming audience too. Like it's real weird because, like, Obsidian, Avowed, they've done Avowed, they've done Outer Worlds 2, Outer Worlds. What was before that?
Pillars of Eternity, Pillars 2,
right? Okay.
Tyranny.
So Pillars 1 and 2, I can understand the general audience not
is relatively niche.
Yeah, not grasping. But man, like, I still feel, maybe I'm probably misremembering because I've been doing this for so long, but I also remember Fallout New Vegas, at least for a lot of console players, not being as well received as, like, Fallout 3 was. Yeah. And granted, there was definitely a lot of issues with it bugs wise, but completely, like, as much as I'm not a fan of its setting, complete, like, the factions and the story writing was just, like, leagues better than Fallout 3. But now people have come around to it, but it's too little too late, And so we have Avowed, which I know it's exclusive on Xbox, so hopefully the PS5 release will help it out. And then Outer Worlds 2, which of course was marred by Outer Worlds 1, all that stuff. I don't know. More respect for Obsidian.
I think maybe one of the issues with Outer Worlds is that you play as a completely different character in Outer Worlds 2. It's an anthology. So the second game, as far as I can tell, doesn't have anything to do with the first game, right?
Plays an ant?
Nah,
Kidding.
No,
I know. Yeah.
So if you had a character in Outer Worlds 1 with a name like Shepard, and it was like Shepard Returns in Outer Worlds 2, maybe people are more invested there.
Somehow Shepard survived.
Exactly. It was the same thing. It's the same thing in Envoy. In Avowed, you're the envoy, which just doesn't. That doesn't sound like exciting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of giving,
they went the Chinese gotcha route with that name.
So instead of so instead of giving your character some kind of like, at least in Dragon Age you were Llewellyn, right? You had a last name like Shepard. So everybody, or in Baldur's Gate 3, you start off as Tav.
Yeah,
then
Tav.
You can rename your character. So so that's a different case. But the point I'm making is, I think one of the things that went against Outer Worlds 2 is that it's a completely different character. So it's like, and completely different companions. So there was like nothing returning. Where Pillars 2, you could import your character. So it was a continuation.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay. Let's move on here. No Horizon 3 anytime soon, but we are getting a Horizon co-op game. PlayStation announced Horizon Hunters Gathering, a solo or co-op action game with roguelike elements, and I don't think they announced a release date for that. Did they say this year?
It's this year, I believe, yeah.
Okay. Ethan Gotch at Kotaku reported that Horizon 3 could be a ways off. I'm going to read from his story. Quote, while Horizon Hunters Gathering might seem like just another side project, it's actually the main game many at the Dutch studio are working on right now, two sources familiar with the state of the franchise have told us. According to one source, many of the staff working on Horizon Zero Dawn 3 were pulled over to help with Horizon Hunters Gathering, which Sony is committed to making a multiplayer success. Another source suggested fans might not see the next true Aloy adventure for 3 to 5 years, which would make it a PlayStation 6 game, though it could still appear on PS5 as a cross-gen release. Jason Schreier also said on Blue Sky that most of the devs at Guerrilla are on Hunters Gathering as well. So that seems like it's a pretty well corroborated story there. What did we think of let's talk about the trailer, or our reaction to just the trailer in general. Like, what did we think when we saw it and some of the reaction to it?
I haven't baked my opinions on it enough, but my surface level reaction was that I thought it looked really fun. I thought it looked really interesting. Kind of like, if you were to make Horizon a Monster Hunter game, this is it.
Yeah.
You're doing it, and it makes sense that it would be that type of game if you wanted to create it, because you have a lot of different variables that can approach with what we know about Horizon's story and the cores and all of that. The evolution of these like technological like creatures like could happen very quickly. And so, yeah, you can absolutely make a side story. You can make a lot of side stories on the Horizon universe, but I think this is they're taking a chance on something, and whether it will be successful or not remains to be seen. But I like the way that it looks. It is a little different than most of the stuff we're getting, especially from a first party studio like Sony. But yeah, I don't know how many more years we're going to have to make room for more multiplayer games.
Yeah, so that's the distinction, right? Because there's like two stories here. Because I thought the game kind of looked neat as well.
Yeah.
And my reaction was kind of split, because I was like, oh yeah, this does kind of look cool. Like the idea of hunting down the Horizon machines with your friends, I think that does sound cool. Like a Thunderjaw, like taking down a Thunderjaw together. I don't know if you guys remember like the beginning of Jurassic Park 2 when there's like those hunting parties.
Yeah, they all go onto the island. Yeah.
Like imagine that, but not as inhumane, because the robots are, the robots, they don't feel.
They don't feel.
Yeah, they're just out there to kill humans. So it's like you're working together to hunt down these giant robots. That seems like a cool concept, like a legitimately cool concept.
Yeah.
And so I'd be excited to play it. But of course, the wider context around that, I think, is the problem, which is that Sony, like PlayStation, has completely face planted its whole attempt at like creating a live service pipeline. They'll say MLB The Show and Helldivers as if they planned those things, as if like, yeah, you have MLB The Show, but it was never like it I don't think it's anything like FIFA.
No.
And Helldivers was an accident. So it's like, stop pretending that from day one you were like, yeah, Helldivers is going to be a massive live service success. They're disingenuous when they make that argument. But that is the problem, is that in the details that this is taking away from Horizon 3. And if you guys watch the reveal, like not just the trailer, but the interviews, the pre-scripted interviews beforehand, I forget who it was, that I think the studio lead, like Guerrilla studio lead, was talking, introduced the game, and one of the first things he said was, "Don't worry, we're not abandoning single." I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. He said, "We're not leaving single player behind." And I thought, that isn't that interesting that in announcing a game to the world, one of the first things you do is a disclaimer to hopefully calm people down.
Yeah.
And that makes me think that they know, somebody somewhere understands that there's going to be a backlash to this, because people are just sort of, live service games require a different type of commitment than even normal games that are super long, right? And they are built on different types of engagements, different types of monetization, and I think people are just tired of that. In some ways, people have always been tired of that. Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to remember when a game announcing it was free to play, it would get flack for that. That's not necessarily the case much anymore, I think. It's sort of been normalized. But I think there's still segments of like the market that react in a hostile way because they see it as trend chasing, or they see it as greedy, or they see it as taking resources away from something that was better before. Mm-hmm. And I think all three are reasonable like complaints to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But that's the struggle, is I do think this is a cool idea. But again, it's hard to square that with the context of PlayStation. It really does come across like PlayStation is just chasing trends, right?
Yes.
And we just talked about Obsidian and how Avowed was like an attempt to chase trends and how poorly that went. We've talked about Rocksteady and how Suicide Squad was an attempt to chase trends, and we know how that went, right? So we have BioWare with Anthem chasing trends.
PlayStation with Concord.
With Concord, and with the Naughty Dog game, right? And with the game Ben Studio was working on. So it's like we have all these examples of, everybody trying to chase after that live service money. Highguard is another one. And things just don't. Halo Infinite, things just don't work out. So that people see that and they graph that onto announcements like that. And so I get it. I get that, like, I don't know, people, like, the joke now is like, if there's a game that somebody doesn't like, oh, Concord 2.0.
Yes.
It's like, and it's very annoying.
It is very annoying.
Because regardless of like the context around Concord, if it's like, oh, this game has real-time pause in it and not turn-based, oh, I guess it's Concord 2.0. Like, just like, it's just one of those things that the internet has just taken and stretched and ripped apart, like it's two black holes just fighting over a planet or something. And man, I hate that so much. But understanding the annoying side of the internet, I do think there are like real legitimate complaints here and concerns with regards to, I don't know, like how much does Sony want this to succeed? How desperate are they? And should you be putting that many eggs in a fun little co-op game that's a spin-off of a much bigger a much bigger franchise? And if you're doing that, maybe the issue isn't with Guerrilla and the property. Maybe it's because the people that decided we're going to do 10 live service games made a stupid decision from the get-go, and they shouldn't have fucking done that shit.
Am I out of touch? No, it's the children that are wrong.
Yeah.
Richard, you look like you were going to say something.
I was you were talking about it not too long ago, but I guess the only thing that I can with Concord, I'm trying not to be so like inflammatory with this. With Concord, I think there were a lot of people who were initially disappointed with it because it didn't look like anything unique. The cinematic cutscene did not do it any favors.
No.
And then even then, when gameplay came out, that really didn't do any favors. I think this Horizon multiplayer game, due to its art style and the way you play it, I think there is like a little less of a harsh reaction to it, at least that I can see, because it does look like they actually are trying to make a good game. Not to say that the guys who made Concord didn't want to make a good game.
Sure.
Everybody always wants to make a good game. But this one has more things going for it than not. So it's possible it could be if it's a moderate success, I'm sure they'll consider that a win. If it lives for like 2 years, 3 years, hooray. But already we have something like 2XKO, the fighting game from Riot, is already running into some issues.
Jeez, I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, it came out this month, and today they cut down the team and laid off.
Okay, I remember seeing the story. I completely forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah. But that also had a bunch of it. Like, it was in development for 10 years. They released a game. There's like 11 characters, which is like, you do not do that in a fighting game. In a fighting game, you have like 20 plus characters. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what you got to do. And they're free to play. Their microtransaction packages are like stupid expensive for like alt colors and outfits and stuff. So they already got off on the wrong foot.
You already have a roster of 8 billion characters in the league to pick from.
And they chose like 11. So anyways, what is it? Hunter's Gathering.
It's a bad name. It's not a very good name.
No, it's not a good name.
It's Horizon Zero.
Yes.
Hunter's the Gathering trading card game.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Yeah. I just want to say hunter gatherers.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of comes across. It sounds like
I know it's a play on that, but anyways.
You gotta think of magic.
Right. Anyways, well, I mean, it's like I say very frequently. We'll see what happens. I'm not wishing for its downfall because I do think it looks fun, and I hope it does find an audience. But also I do want to play through, just to kind of anecdotally talk about Horizon 3. I do want to play through Horizon 2 again.
Me too.
To see if I form a different, because I hated the ending of 2. It was awful, and it made me so not excited for this next one.
Yeah.
But we'll see if I play the second game again and actually like do more of it. See if that changes my mind. Who knows?
So
I can wait.
Moss's character was cool. I like that where they were taking it with like the superhumans.
Yeah.
But then at the end there was like there was the robot swarm twist, which I did not like. That was like a really generic dumb twist. I remember even thinking at the time, I may have even liked Aliens better than this. Just like something completely on left field. Because it was just like, what's coming for this planet ruled by robots? More robots.
But if I remember the way they explained it, it's pretty much just like a literal ball of like energy, like fire energy. And it's just like coming to Earth. Yeah. It's like, we got to find a way to stop it. It's like, how? You're fucking cavemen. Like, I know they have tech now, but it's like tech that was made thousands of years before this. And it's like, get out of here.
Yeah. And I was left with this. Like, I'm excited for Horizon 3, and I want to play through the first one and the second one again. I played through the first one a long time ago, and I don't remember a lot.
I do think Horizon 2 is...
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah. Ghost of Yotei is also stunning.
I choose Tsushima over Yotei, personally.
I have to play Tsushima again.
I got to play Yotei, but only because I didn't think there was too much of a difference between.
Yeah, I was gonna say Yotei may look just as good.
Yotei, obviously, not saying it doesn't look gorgeous. It's very gorgeous, but
sure. Okay, are we ready to move on?
Oh yes.
Okay, Remedy has a new CEO. Remedy announced. I'm gonna pronounce this horribly. I'm sorry. Jean-Charles Gadachan. I choose you.
Oh my God.
Gadachan.
Just call him JCG.
Yeah, JCG will be CEO starting March 1st. JCG. Now he looks. Now I can't call him that because that sounds too cool. That sounds like there's JCG with a field goal.
Yeah, Chuck.
Thunder are up by 3. Like that sounds.
JC,
cool.
How about JC?
JC, okay, whatever.
The big JC.
Yeah.
Remedy's CEO. Remedy's CEO. That's his name.
Okay, sure.
Mr. Remedy CEO.
John CEO.
Yes, John CEO. He's the middle child that never got any love between John Halo and John Battlefield. Yeah. It was a complicated family.
Yeah, the surname is John.
The surname and the video game family, it's John is the first name. Yeah, it's John and Jane, and but they take John and their first name is, so there's like John Battlefield, John Halo, and then John CEO. And John CEO is always getting his ass kicked, but now he's like, you know, now he controls everything, which sucks. Anyway, so JCG once worked at EA, most recently VP and Group GM of EA Asia Studios. He then worked for other companies, and I didn't care to look at the details because he worked around Web3 and blockchain stuff in NFTs, and none of that sounded good. And I watched a little bit of an interview he did where he talked about like Web3 stuff, and it's just like, I can't believe all this existed. Do you remember when like people wouldn't shut the fuck up about Web3?
Unfortunately, yes.
And when was the last time you heard that kind of talk now? Nowhere.
Well, it's moved on to Bitcoin.
So. Nowhere. You don't hear it anywhere.
Oh, move back to Bitcoin.
Move back.
Same
Sorry.
thing
Yes.
with NFTs
You're correct.
Completely disappear. Like, I'm sure there's corners of the internet.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like surface level
All my apes.
pop culture, yes, they've been completely eradicated. A bald Canadian with a beard made a YouTube video and completely decimated the market. He was like, I want to talk about NFTs, but I can't. And then just after that, it's just the Titanic. Reading from the press release, I am delighted to announce the appointment of Mr. CEO Remedy to lead Remedy into a phase of profitable growth. Hold on a second. Let me go brush my teeth. His proven history in growing gaming franchises and successfully leading internal studios is an excellent fit to the current stage of Remedy's business. Under JC's leadership, we are well positioned to significantly accelerate growth, guide Remedy towards greater independence through self-publishing, and deliver sustained value to our players, partners, and shareholders, says Henry Osterland, Chairman, Board of Directors. Henry, you can go ahead and take players out of there because we know what you're talking about. Later on in the statement, JC said, I'm excited and honored to join Remedy at a pivotal time. The studio has a unique creative identity and a strong pipeline. My commitment is to protect what makes it special, deliver exceptional games, and scale Remedy in a way that builds lasting value. Remedy has the voice and the ambition to be a pillar of the industry's future. We will stay close to players, earn their time and trust, and strengthen our independence in how we build and publish our games, while continuing to work closely with the partners who have supported us along the way. I will be moving to Finland with my family, and I'm incredibly excited about getting to work directly with the team at the studio. And I just put in the notes, oh no, because that was a lot of corporate speak. None of it sounded great.
And it sounds the same as every other CEO that has taken over. And, corporate speak, of course.
Again, Remedy's another studio that's like, they tried to do a live service thing and a co-op thing, and it didn't really pan out well. And now it's like, I don't know, is that the only way that this can be managed? The only way that this can be managed is throw a bunch of shit at your live service effort, and if it fails, panic like chickens with their heads cut off and hire people and bleed everywhere. Mm-hmm. Is that the only way to manage this? Or is there maybe a different way where you stick to the things that make your studio good? Which in Remedy's case is a weird Swedish guy making games that are based in David Lynch and other horror. Mm-hmm. Like, because that's the stuff that is memorable from the studio. So yeah, I don't know. But like looking at this guy's history and looking through some of the Web3 and whatnot, it just is like, oh man, this does not sound good. And does this guy know what Remedy is? Does he, I don't know. Does he understand their strengths as a company? Or is he just there to somehow figure out what Remedy's FIFA is going to be? And if that's the case, well, good luck, but that's not good. Yeah,
and that's the worry. That everything you hit the nail on the head is you can say one thing, but very sooner or later, we will see what the actual goal is. And he can either try to reframe Firebreak into something else, or we'll see another a live service game from Remedy, at some point. I don't know what to think, man.
It's hard to think that Firebreak was such an issue that it's like, that it's fracturing, that like Remedy is breaking down because of it. Because it was like, was it really that big of a bet? I don't know.
I don't know.
Did you really need it to succeed that much? Because all we hear about it is like people stepping down. There's a new CEO. We hear about like, oh my God, we did such a bad job with Firebreak. And maybe Firebreak isn't a good game. I haven't played it, but the point I'm making is it sounds like it was that or Remedy's gone is what it sounds like sometimes. And it's just like, was it that dire of a situation? It's hard for me to believe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the economics are there, but I guess it's the same way we've already been talking about. Connor, is there anything you would like to say before we close out?
I've just been trying to make jokes, but no.
Okay. Follow us, youtube.com/gaming discourse, patreon.com/the gaming discourse, and we will see you next week.
Bye.